Hey guys, I've been seeing a bunch of videos of what people think the top meta decks are going to look like post Mobius when Mobius comes out tonight. And I don't really agree with them, so I figured I'd give my own take on what I think is going to happen. First off, we have this ramp Eliath deck here. I don't own Eliath, or that would be the sixth card on the bottom row. These decks are dead. I think these decks are going to fall off so hard. There's just no way, because these Electro Wave style decks, they really only lose to drawing poorly, but when Mobius is on the enemy side of the field, your wave is going to do nothing. So what does your turn 4 look like if you wave on 3 and they play Mobius on 3? Or if they played Mobius on 2, you don't have Electro. If you don't have Electro, you're just done. Like, your deck is done. You can't do anything. So I think these decks are going to fall off because they're just going to be so inconsistent. I really can't see these type of decks staying in the meta. I really think this Lockjaw, Janejaw deck, I think it's really good. It's not really affected by wave hardly at all. I think you could replace Spider-Ham with Mobius in this deck if you wanted. I think Mobius should probably go in almost every deck. This deck's a little weird to fit Mobius in because, normally you're playing Lockjaw and then Spider-Ham into Lockjaw, so you would be playing Mobius on 2, which I think is still a fine curve. And the only reason you would want to prevent your cards being all your cards being limited to 4 cost on the final turn is because you want to still be able to play Wasp and Mjolnir into Lockjaw as well as a 6 cost card. So I think that's why you would slot Mobius in here, but I think this deck will still be very good post Mobius. Bounce, I feel like it's going to be very difficult. I was thinking maybe you take out Beast and put in Mobius because Beast is bouncing your cards back, but they're not going to be 0 cost if the enemy has a Mobius. So I think that'll be pretty difficult to change this deck up. If you're taking out Beast, then Collector's also even worse. So maybe you switch Collector for something else as well. I don't know. This one was hard to figure out. I think Bounce will still be probably B or C tier. I think Shuri decks are probably going to be top of the meta. Hardly affected by wave, but I think you could replace Armor with Mobius. And the reason I pick Armor is because I've been playing this deck a bunch and I'm not seeing a lot of Shang-Chi in the meta right now. And then when everyone's playing Mobius, no one's going to be playing Zabu to discount their Shang, so Shang just becomes a little bit worse, and I think people really won't be playing Shang as much. And like I said, I just haven't really been seeing Shang in the meta right now. So you could replace Armor for Mobius so that if you get waved on 5, you can still play Taskmaster into Ebony Maw. People seem to be underestimating how good playing Ebony Maw is on the last turn with this deck. See a lot of people saying, wave doesn't even affect this deck at all, but honestly, being able to play Taskmaster for 28 points and then Ebony Maw for another 7 in another lane is just crazy, and that wins so many games because people forget about the Ebony Maw. They're just not expecting it. Loki, I think, is going to look something like this. Maybe for sure replacing Jeff with Mobius. I think that this deck will be good on ladder, but not in Conquest. And the reason I say that is because on ladder, people might be roguing your Quinjet, not just not understanding what you're doing, not understanding that you're going to have Mobius and you're going to have your own rogue to rogue their Mobius. But if you're in Conquest, they're just going to save their Mobius until turn 4 maybe, wait for you to play Loki, and then your Loki's kind of dead because getting all their cards is not very good if they're not discounted. You'd rather be playing your own cards if there's no discount. So I think Loki might still have a place on the ladder, but I just cannot see this deck being good in Conquest. Maybe I'm wrong, but having no discount, I really don't see it. And then maybe Thanos Control comes back because this deck is really not affected by wave at all. I think this deck could come back if they just unnerf Soulstone. This was a super fun deck to play, but The Soulstone nerf just makes it so inconsistent. But maybe we'll see a return of Thanos. And then one more thing, I just wanted to go over a couple locations that I think people aren't realizing how good Mobius is just on a base level, because you have Dream Dimension is going, if only you have Mobius and your opponent does not. Elysium, that's like snappable. You just snap right away because they're getting no discount and you're getting a discount on everything. It's like you played a Sarah, just for free. It's crazy. Dream Dimension, that might be another snap. You're playing multiple cards on turn 5. You're playing a 5-cost card on turn 5. They're not able to do that if they don't have Mobius. And then other ones I was looking at down here, we have Icebox. It's kind of like Iceman. I think Iceman's going to be dead, unfortunately. The Peak, imagine the Peak happening. You have Mobius, your cards get discounted, your cards don't get increased. The Raft, if your opponent gets the Raft card and you have Mobius, that card is not going to cost 0. That card is going to cost 6. It's basically a dead card in their hand. It's pretty crazy. I think you definitely should pick up Mobius for 3,000 tokens, or if you don't have the tokens and you somehow have 7,500 gold, I would wait till next week and purchase that bundle, because that bundle is very good value. Alright, see ya. I mentioned this is the deck I'm going to be trying out as soon as Mobius comes out. You replace maybe Chavez, either Chavez or Jeff you replace for Mobius. I think this deck's going to be baller, especially because you're playing Wave as a 3-cost. If your opponent doesn't have Mobius, you kind of crush them with your Wave, and even if they do, that's still a 3-5 after you buff it with Surfer, so I'm really looking forward to playing this deck.